Good day. What? Well, how's everyone doing? I'm your host, Jonathan Timber, and welcome to another episode of Timber Talk Time. This one's going to be short and sweet because I really didn't have anything for it. And then I thought about, the reason being I'm getting married Sunday. So I've been working, making a little extra monies. And so I had creativity block, writer's block. And then I thought, what am I gonna do my episode on? What's this week's episode gonna be? And then I was like, how about you do a few questions about overcoming creativity blocks, writer's block. So yeah, that's what today's episode's gonna be. It's gonna be 5 questions that I'll answer that'll hopefully help the artists, the creatives out there overcoming writer's block. And also forgive my voice if it sounds stuffy. I feel like I'm just going to be allergic for the rest of my life to something, always. Just giving up. That's just it. It's going to be a sniffly dude. Maybe it was the years of drugs. I don't know. But we're just going to go ahead and jump right in because that's one of the things you should do whenever you have a creative block, is just jump right into the situation, and then the juices start flowing, and the next thing you know, you're creative again, even if it's fleeting. Question number 1. What is your biggest fear or worry when it comes to being creative? What is my biggest fear or worry? I also want to say these questions, I never have anything written out beforehand. I just want to feel them in the moment. So, yeah. One of my biggest fears is that it's not going to land. I want to be successful. I want to have some sort of success. I want to reach people with everything that I do. So anytime I do something, I want it to be good. I want it to resonate. But through this podcast and through my music, I've learned that if you just do it from your heart, and I know that sounds so cheesy, but if you just do it from that energy, knowing where you stand with it, it'll be good and it'll reach the people that it needs to reach. And I'm saying that out loud for myself because, yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, I want people to resonate with what I do. So there's a vulnerability in it, and I just hope it reaches people. I hope it touches people. That's one of my biggest fears, really, is it never reaching who it needs to. But it won't reach anyone if I don't do it. So that's part of the creative process, is you have to do it. You have to put it out there in order for people to enjoy it. I got a bunch of music that I need to go ahead and start putting out. Number 2. When were you last truly inspired? And what sparked that creativity? I feel like I'm truly inspired every day. I find inspiration in everything. Lately, because I've been doing a podcast, I have been inspired by podcasts. I've been listening to podcasts. I've been listening to comedy. I've been listening to a lot of speaking and trying to pull from that. And ultimately, it's just, I want this to feel like a conversation, I want this to feel like we're just hanging out and I'm talking for 30 minutes. I want it to be comfortable. And I know that in doing it continuously, I'm going to get better at it and finding my flow, like I've been saying since the beginning of the podcast. You know, we're 8 episodes in now, and it's getting easier because I'm continuously showing up and doing it every week, and that's the only way it'll get easier. There was a time when tying our shoes was difficult, and now hopefully we don't think about it because we all have Crocs. That wasn't an ad. I just happened to notice that I rarely tie my shoes anymore because I either am putting Crocs on or my Pelote Portuguese driving shoes or my blondies. Yeah, I kind of got rid of tying my shoes because I didn't want to have to deal with that anymore. But yeah, podcasts have been inspiring me. Conversations with friends inspire me. I like to keep things private on that side, but there are always nuggets in it. So I appreciate the conversations. Oh, there's that first yawn. Wow, we're 6 minutes in and a yawn. That's the first yawn. Wow. I'm getting better. Question number 3. How do you typically approach creative projects? Every project that I've ever done, I've approached it by just starting it. Like with music, I'll just think of the stuff I want to hear. You know, I'll get inspired by something and then I'm like, man, what if so and so and I wrote a song together? What would that sound like? And then that's how that starts. With the podcast, I want it to feel a certain way, a vibe to it, an energy to it. And yeah, so I just come to it. I yawn through it. Yeah, just start the project. You can't really know what it's going to be until you get into it and start figuring it out. And I feel like that's just the best way to do it. It's just to start. You'll figure it out. You always will. Even if you don't think you will. I feel like you have to go through this and that to get to that. If that makes any sense. So, question number 4. Are you setting unrealistic expectations for yourself? No. I don't think I am, because I believe that I'm capable of anything that I set my mind to, and I believe that anyone is. If you had the thought, you probably could get to it, get to the idea. The hard part is trusting your thought. But once the ball gets rolling, you should be good, because everything we see, every podcast, every book, every song, everything was an idea first. So why not me? Why not you? Why not us? You know? Yeah. So I never feel like I've set the bar too high, because I still have time. As long as you got time, you still can. Yeah. So, and lastly, who inspires you? Are there any artists, writers, thinkers whose works motivates you? So, on that form, there's, I mean, on the musical standpoint, you got your Leon Bridges, your Childish Gambinos, your I mean, you name it, Michael Jackson, you name the artist, I've had some sort of inspiration by it. Um, well, that's really bright. Uh, Let me see if I wanted to pull up. I should have done this before. Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and pause and because we. All right, I'm back, and I wanted to highlight some books that have inspired me. But before I start that, doesn't that look like the guy from? Well, actually, I guess it could be Penguin, right here. It's his nose, or Despicables. What's his name? Gru. It's just my hat, but I couldn't help but notice that, and I felt like you should know about that also. But back to our regularly scheduled programming. Um, Inspirations was the question. What are some things that are inspiring me? Um, and throughout this podcast, I've been mentioning a lot of books that I've been diving into, and yeah, The Creative Act by Rick Rubin has been a huge inspiration for me. It's like I feel like it just pushed all the walls in my brain down and just made it an open layout, and now I can like see thoughts better. I don't know how else to explain it. You should check it out if you haven't. The Creative Act by Rick Rubin. Tackle What's Next. Thank you, Glenn. Thank you, Glenn, for that one. That is a book by Eric Wood, football player. And it's just an inspirational story, and it kind of gives you. One thing I'm noticing is that a lot of these books that I read are moments of reaffirmation, stuff that I've been thinking about for a long time, but I just haven't applied it myself, or I haven't fully leaned into it. And then seeing it and hearing it said by someone else gives me that extra pep to just like lean into it. Another great book, I Heard There Was a Secret Chord by Daniel Levitin. It's the neuroscience of music, what the effects of music are with your brain, your body, its healing properties, a historical sense, scientific. I mean, it gets super nerdy. There's some points when I was like, am I about to what? I got lost a couple times, but it was an eye opener. Really good book if you're a musician. Thank you, Liz, for thinking of that book for me. And anyone, if you ever have a book that you're digging or you're interested and you think I might dig it, go ahead and shoot me an email at timbertalktimepodcast@gmail.com. I'm a sponge right now. I want to learn so I guess when I was younger, I didn't care for the curriculum, but now that I'm the curator of what I want to learn, I'm obsessed with wanting to learn more because I know it's just going to make me better, you know. And I also understand that there's so many life lessons in it, in each book, and we all have a story to tell. So it's cool to see other people's point of views and different blueprints for success or for life or whatever it may be. So if you ever have a book that you think I might dig, shoot me a line on Instagram or YouTube or timbertalktimepodcast@gmail.com, and it would be greatly appreciated because I'm trying to learn. I want to learn. I said it not too long ago on my Instagram, but my appetite is insatiable. I feel like I'm making up for lost time. All the time that I probably should have been spending learning back when I was younger. But yeah, loving to learn right now. Another great book, Relentless by Tim S. Grover. Tim S. Grover, sorry about that. He was Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan's coach. And that book, ignite that dog in you. And a lot of these books are books that I foresee myself reading like quarterly or yearly, or, I call it the side of the pool. It's books that I'm going to be continuously going back to and touching to reignite, you know, different things in my brain. And the thing about it is sometimes you might read it one way through and this pops out and you read it again. Y'all know what happens with who am I telling? I'm sorry, I'm new to reading. Okay. New to diving into books. Okay. Um, I never was one to be like, if you would have told me, if you would have sat down 6 years ago, me, so 30-year-old 30-year-old me, and said, JT, you're going to be reading a bunch of books and you're going to be super excited about it, I'd be like, you are lying. Ooh, you're lying. And then if you definitely would have told younger me, party me, hey, JT, you're going to like want to spend your days just learning, I would have been like, who abducted me? That's what I would have asked. Limitless by Jim Quick is a great, great, great book. Power of Habit. Thank you, Benton. That book steered me right. But Limitless is it's a book about just unlocking your abilities. The Power of Habit is a powerful book, and I feel like everyone should check it out because it'll help you reevaluate how you go about things, and ultimately, hopefully, set you up for success. Um, Memoirs and Misinformation by Jim Carrey. One of my favorite books ever because it's just wild. He is such a great storyteller, and Jim Carrey is a big inspiration for me as of late. I could, I think I might just do a whole podcast on Jim Carrey one day. Yeah, I might have to do that. Another great book, Malcolm Gladwell's Tipping Point. Right, it's a classic, and I heard he just released another, like a revision or the answer to it. I think last week. So I'm gonna be diving into that one. We're gonna start a book club, J Timber Book Club, Timber Talk Time Book Club. Um, Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey. Great book, super positive. All right, all right, all right. I mean, he's just a cool guy. It's a really good book though. You should check it out. Um, the Song Machine by John Seabrook is another great book. It's just insight into the music industry and some stories of music I grew up listening to, and the impact and just the stories behind them. And like I said, I'm big on checking out books like for instance, Song Machine or Sing to Me by L.A. Reid, because it's a blueprint. And I hope to aspire to have moments where I could pull from these books and be like, man, I've been in this position. No, I haven't. It's because I read it. Da da da. So like, I have the nerve to think that I'm gonna do some great things in life, and I like to think that these books are gonna help me when I get to those crossroads. Um, Lenny Kravitz, Let Love Rule, great book. Just a book about his life and his story. And I mean, it's Lenny. I mean, come on. Tuesdays with Maury by Mitch Albom. Beautiful book. Helped me with my father's passing. And yeah, it's a great book. Everyone should check out. So these are all books that I've been kind of pulling from on the podcast. All books that inspire me. The last question was, what am I inspired by? I've been checking out all these books. Obviously, music is inspiring me. One of my big inspirers, Pharrell Williams. I can't wait to go see Piece by Piece, the new movie. That's going to be awesome. I'm going to be a big kid about it. Going to get some candy. It's going to be awesome. Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of what I had planned for today's podcast. You know, how do I overcome creative blocks? And here I am today. I didn't even know if I'd have 10 minutes worth of podcast, and just getting into the creativity of it, I've got 20 minutes. So, um, yeah, I guess I'll recap the questions. What is your biggest fear and worry when it comes to creativity? Um, when were you truly inspired last? Um, what sparked the creativity? How do you typically approach creative projects? Are you setting unrealistic expectations for yourself? And who inspires you? And so, yeah, I hope that helped you out. I hope it brought some substance to you today. And if you're free, Sunday, August, October 13th, from 7 to 10, we'll be at Dram and Draft celebrating. It's kind of an after party. I couldn't invite everyone that I wanted to the wedding, so we just decided to do a big old party and have everyone come out. We can hug each other's necks and celebrate love. And I'm getting married. Oh my gosh, it's so crazy. But yeah, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Timber Talk Time. And I hope all the great things happen to you today and every day. And make sure you like, subscribe, hit the ding notification, and share this podcast with a friend. It would mean the world. Um, my goal is to get to 20, and then I'm going to be reevaluating what's the next approach with this, because I see it going further. But yeah, thank you so much for tuning in, and catch you next week. I'll be married then. This is my last podcast not married. Pretty sick. Y'all take care.